Hi, this is Magnus, and here we are again with a beautiful endgame position. This time it's an endgame that was played by Magnus Carlsen. He was playing this game with white against Ivanchuk. And as you know, probably, tomorrow is a very important day, because tomorrow the first game in the match between Magnus Carlsen and Vishy Anand will be played in Chennai, India. And at the chess club someone asked me, who do you think is going to win? Is Magnus or Vishy going to win? And I must say I really don't know. There are many people who would love to see a young player like Magnus Carlsen win this match, and of course Anand has also many fans, and he's a great player. So it's I find very difficult to predict such things. Some people say Magnus Carlsen has less match experience, and so that would be an advantage for Vishy Anand. But on the other hand, his playing strength is enormous of Magnus Carlsen, and he has showed the world in different top grandmaster tournaments how strong he can be against everyone let's say in the top 10 of the world. So it's going to be a very exciting game, exciting match. Absolutely, I'm going to follow it, and I'm afraid I will not be able to follow each game live because of work, but I'm planning to show you some of the interesting fragments from the games in that match. But as a preview right now, I'm going to show you this endgame. As you know, I find endgames very interesting, especially endgames with this type of surprising moves, like in this one. It's here black to move, and what happened is that Vasily Ivanchuk, playing black here, well, he was faced with this dangerous passed pawn here on a6, and he found a way to attack it by playing king to a5 here. That's what he did. So he's attacking the knight on b4, and his knight is controlling the a7 square, so this pawn cannot advance. And Magnus found here an excellent move. If you are a strong player and would like to try to find this move, go ahead, pause the video and see what you would do with white here. And well, perhaps even if you're not such a strong player, you would like to have a good thought here and see what ideas you can make in this position. I'm going to show you what happened in the game now. Magnus Carlsen came with a great piece sacrifice here, the move knight to c3. He's sacrificing the knight on b4, and this knight may not be taken, because then the pawn is going to advance. Let me show you in a variation. If black takes now with king takes b4, then white takes with his knight the knight on b5. That was this important defender of this square a7. So here knight takes b5, king takes b5, and then a7 wins. There is no way to stop this pawn. If we try to be smart and we don't take this knight on b5, but instead of that we play the knight from e7 to c8 like this to stay controlling this a7 square. In that case, there are different ways to win. One of them is simply advancing the pawn to a7, but perhaps a more stylish one is to play knight to d6. Again, a piece sacrifice. If the knight is taken, then the pawn advances and cannot be stopped any longer. So there is here no other choice, we could say, than, for example, to play knight to b6 or knight to a7, and in both cases this knight can take on f5 and then capture the pawn on h6, and after that this pawn becomes too dangerous and advances. So let's return to the game now, because the next moves are also very beautiful. Ivanchuk didn't take the knight on b4. He calculated these variations and he chose to play knight to c7. So now he's attacking 2 times the pawn on a6, and he is also controlling the promotion square a8. Now what happened here? Big surprise again. Magnus sacrificed again a piece by playing knight b takes d5, and we have the same idea after this was played in the game. Knight takes e5, knight takes d5. Now if this knight is taken, the pawn is going to advance, but there is no other option actually for black, because if black takes here the pawn on a6, then the white king is so close to the enemy pawns that simply, well, actually knight to e7 is probably winning immediately, and king to d4 is also winning. The king goes to e5, captures f7, and white has a one-man game. It's very, very simple after that. So in this position what Ivanchuk did is he took the knight on d5. Magnus advanced, and now the knight from d5 goes back to c7 to control the promotion square on a8. So it looks as if white is defending well. But well, Magnus had seen this and had seen that his king is so much more active than the black king and closer to the enemy pawns that he played knight to d4 here. Now Ivanchuk replied king to b6, attacking the pawn on a7, but then the king went to e5, and in this position Ivanchuk resigned. And let's have a look what could have followed. If here king takes a7, then king takes f5, and this knight against 3 pawns is not sufficient to defend, because after this the king is going to go to g6 and capture on h6, like this: knight to d5, king to g6, knight takes e3, but then king takes h6, and we have a position where this king doesn't play any role in the play. So what's going to happen? The white king is going to go to g5, or sorry, to g5 or g6 or g7, and then advance the h-pawn, and the only way for black to stop that pawn is to sacrifice his knight at a certain point, but it's then the other pawn will win. So for example, let's see, knight to g4 check, then king to g6, and what can we do then? Come closer with the king? Well, we can already advance here, and after takes, the endgame is completely won for white, because white is going to advance with this pawn and promote. So this is I find such a beautiful example of how many tactical ideas can be there in an endgame, and it shows the creativity of Magnus Carlsen. So I think and I hope that we're going to have really exciting games in this match between Magnus and Vichy. So alright, I'll leave it up to here, and I'll see you next time on YouTube.